Hello, guys. Welcome to the Legless Tripod Podcast. My name's Tom. I'm joined by.
I'm Ellie.
Benjamin.
Lovely to see you both.
Yeah, it's been a while. Is this the longest we've done? Nah, it's probably not.
This
is on the longest
I think
break.
The last one was longer.
I feel
Yeah,
like we're not very reliable, especially at the end of the last episode. Me and Tom were like, it will be 1 week. We promise 1 week.
yeah. We're just busy people, guys. We're just entrepreneurs of the film industry. We've got more important things to do than talk to you guys. So
That's horrible.
that's how it is. You know.
Where has this Ben come from? The film we watched this week was.
Another round.
So, Another Round is a film focused on a group of teachers that try to prove a psychological hypothesis as to where they retain their alcohol levels at a certain level.
0.05%.
Is it?
No, it says that
0.5.
the hypothesis is that
0.05.
we're naturally 0.05 alcohol deficient. So if you have a bit of alcohol in you and get that to 0 or higher, because basically it introduces different psychological theories which they test out, then you perform better.
Yeah, you become more sociable.
Have a happier life.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much.
So all these teachers, they decide they want to try it out for their own reasons, pretty much like boredom and unfulfillment. And the film follows them trying to test out this hypothesis while they're working in their school.
Probably the worst place to test it out, really. Probably the worst workplace that you could possibly try it. Other than
Train?
like forklifting.
I was literally about to say
Stuff
heavy
like that.
machinery.
Yeah.
How did you rate it?
Yeah, it was an alright film. I may have been very tired for the watching of this film, and I may have nearly fallen asleep about 6 times. But that's not because the film's boring. It was just my
That's very
sleeping
responsible of
routine.
you.
You're so
I know.
professional.
And now I'm going to make a podcast about this film. So
No.
there you go. How did you guys find it?
To be fair, I wanted to watch this film for ages and I was really excited. And I thought it was alright, but I was a bit disappointed. I was expecting myself to love it because I love Mads Mikkelsen and I like Danish films, but I felt quite disappointed.
I'd say I'm the same. I like the concept, and the trailer seemed very dramatic, but it just didn't really pay off in the film. Like, it was good, and it was a good watch, and I enjoyed it. There were some good parts, but it wasn't fantastic. But it was very well made.
I was
So-
expecting it to be like I wanted to watch this film since I first heard about it. I was like so excited and like I was excited to watch it. I was pushing for us to do it for ages. And it was like, I normally like Danish films, but it was a very classic Danish film. Like they're normally quite understated and there's not like big dramatic payoff. But at the same time, I just found myself a bit like disappointed.
Yeah. The concept in general is comedic, has comedic value, but then they tried to make it into a drama because if you did it in real life, then that's how it would be. And I think they just they got the balance right, but because they got that balance right, it just didn't really hit the spot of either of them.
To be fair,
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
maybe we're being a bit too harsh.
Possibly, because it
Right.
wasn't awful.
I feel like it's a case for me of like, we'll get into more what we like about it, but for me it might be a case of expectations were just a bit too high.
The trailer was better than the film in this kind of scenario. Sometimes people make really good trailers out of bad films. This was still a good film, but I think they just, they set the bar too high with the really good trailer.
That's like the first Suicide Squad. Terrible, terrible movie. Pretty much just a music video, and a trailer company edited the whole of that movie, which probably explains why people were first hyped for the trailer.
Wait, they had a trailer company editing
Yeah,
the film?
so for the first, this is probably off topic, but the first Suicide Squad, they had 3 different companies edit it, and they didn't like the first cut, I don't think. So they had it re-edited by 3 different companies,
That explains
and
a
they
lot.
chose the trailer company who edited the whole movie, which is why it just feels like a music video crammed together into like an hour and a half.
That explains a lot about the film.
This is the first Suicide Squad. I haven't seen the second one yet.
That's in either.
You don't
Anyway,
want
back to the film. God, we're getting off topic, guys.
already.
Another
Thanks,
round was quite good, I will admit. Very Danish, as Elspeth said. My first thing I noted was of course they'd make the boring history teacher the hot one. Because that's such a bloody cliche. I'm not necessarily saying that Mads Mikkelsen's overly hot.
Yeah,
but
he is.
I don't know.
You
He's
said
something. He's rugged. There's something there. He's attractive, but it's like a weird attractive. It's unconventional. That's the word.
Unconventional.
I like the fact that the motivation of the film was that he was unfulfilled of his life. Because that's such a bare and like raw thing that I think it was quite brave of them to actually like put that
he was
out
trying
there
to
and
be-
explore that.
Trying to be less boring in his life.
At the start, he was a bit boring though.
I mean, he's a history teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
I also put this was not my high school experience.
Yeah,
Because
it's
They
extreme.
were
wasn't it?
singing, and then in PE they were like, it was quite extreme. Press ups as the
Tom mentioned that it felt like a private school.
yeah.
I do agree with him. I didn't agree with him then, but I see what you mean. It's like the weirdly over the top lessons.
And they're all like quite dedicated to it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could
exactly.
clearly see that they'd
Their
cast
parents
like
are paying for the shit.
one age of teenagers and then one age of kids, and that was it. There was no like other school, so I feel like the casting could have been a little bit. But maybe that's just because I'm used to like American hot film.
Hollywood.
Wow. American films where they've cast like shitloads of extras, and then you've got the stereotypical bell rings and everybody leaves the classroom. But I don't know.
I think the inclusion of like them being teachers adds so much risk to the whole situation. I feel like there's a lot of workplaces where this would have been, it still would have been bad, but it wouldn't have been as bad. Being responsible of all the children makes it so much riskier to do what they're doing, kind of thing.
But I don't know, talking about this now is making me a bit more like excited. There were some fun sequences. I liked it. So there was one section where, as Tom was saying, they try and get really drunk to push them over the edge. So it's like, when you go on a night out and you feel like fucking shit and then you don't want to drink alcohol for a couple weeks. They
Yeah.
did that so that they wouldn't become alcoholics to varying degrees of success. And there was one scene where they had to get fish and they were out of fish. So they were like trying to catch fish with their hands. And I like that scene. I thought that scene was
yeah.
super cute.
That scene was one of those scenes where I was kind of dozing off.
It was a really
And
good scene.
It was so weird. Like, my memory of it is just them trying to grab fish, and I kind of came back into consciousness. I was like, what the fuck is happening now? And then there was a fisherman shouting at them. And
I don't remember this bit.
It was when when they were having...
Was this before or after he jumped into the sea?
No, that's at the end.
That was at the very
This was like
end.
halfway through.
I
This
don't
was when the
remember
guy
this.
fell into the sea. So it was when... Do you remember when
Yeah,
they had
yeah, that's what
the
I'm on
old
about.
fashions with
Oh, right.
the ice balls and they had the really strong drinks in the
Yeah.
guy's house?
Yeah.
Then his wife said to him, I need to get fish. So they
Fresh
went to the
cod fish?
supermarket and they were out. And so then they went and they were like on the guy's boat trying to catch fish. Then they went to the pub.
I
and they
remember the
got
pub,
fucked.
and I remember the falling into the sea. I don't
It's
remember
literally
that
like a 2-minute scene. I just
bit. It
enjoyed
wasn't that
it.
important. Yeah. I'm going to draw us all the way back to pretty much the start of the film, when they're all sat at the table and they first discuss the idea of your blood alcohol levels are 0.05 too low. I thought that was like, when they were all sat around the table, the lighting, they weren't really lit overhead. They were, if you look at the table, there was a lot of practical lights in the table, and then they were all lit from beneath, which gave them all an evil look, because obviously the light was coming from underneath and there was lots of shadows like above the eyes and above the nose and things. And well, now that was obviously done on purpose, but I'm not sure if that was done on purpose to make them all look evil, because I mean that was the feeling I got from it, and that's what I've got written down here. What about you guys?
I feel. Oh, who's that? I feel like it was one of those kind of meetings before disaster kind of things. It was implying that this isn't a good plan. That's for sure. But yeah, it did feel like Mads Mikkelsen was back in the Bond villain vibes. It was really good lighting though. It was really nice and warm.
But they must have had a very
I liked how they kind of left it on a note where they hadn't fully been like, yes, we're doing this. This isn't, because from the trailer I would have thought, oh yeah, they were instantly just like, we should try out this theory. This is how it's going to work.
Yeah.
It was kind of like they talked about it, but it wasn't like set in stone.
That was very good writing, I will say.
I mean,
I like that.
I've got like 3 points based on that. I agree with Ben. I think that scene, I enjoyed it because it was like realistic. It wasn't like they were like, hell yeah. It was like, you could tell they were quietly excited, being like, oh, that sounds fun. Let's like, I might be down.
And then it gets in their head, and it starts like proper.
Yeah.
But my other 2 notes, obviously you guys are more like practically educated on this, but I didn't really find the cinematography or many of like the filmic elements, like the mise en scène or the sound or the cinematography.
In that specific scene, or in the whole
In
film?
general, I didn't find it very remarkable. There's one scene at the end when Tommy was on a boat and there was a sunset. I was like, that's a really gorgeous shot.
Which one's Tommy?
The PE teacher.
Oh, yeah.
The one when there's just a dog.
No, the one before when it was Tommy and the dog and they were going out. But apart from that, I didn't really find the cinematography that
Because
amazing.
I think it's I wouldn't say it's almost bordering a documentary, but it is very much a real life perspective. They've not pushed the boat out too far and done anything massively like what you would refer to as cinematic, because I think they wanted to retain that
I feel like
life aspect of the film, which they did well.
I agree with that. I think that's Danish films, but also my friend who was watching it with, he said that it didn't feel like a documentary, but it had that very realistic edge to it, which I think does work to its advantage.
Yeah.
And I think if it went overboard, it would have been a bit silly, but at the same time, it did make it slightly less interesting. You know how you were saying like they were lit kind of evilly?
Yeah.
There was one section where I was watching it, then I said to my friend, like, because drinking, it was all good and it was all amazing, then it was like suddenly bad, and I was like to my friend, like, did I fucking accidentally skip ahead? Like, it was literally like, it was all good, then there was just a cut to the next scene, and suddenly drinking was bad, and I was like, have we missed like
Maybe
a
that was
scene?
a deliberate choice though, because when I get drunk, it is sometimes just like,
No,
I'm pissed.
I was literally like, have I missed a section? Because they were like, yeah, drinking, alcohol, this guy's teaching amazing, everything's great. Then the next scene, it was like the filmmakers chose that drinking was bad, then it was good again, then it was bad, and I was like, that confused me. I
But
didn't like
I
that
feel like-
I
transition.
believe it's called a balanced argument.
But a balanced argument when it just swaps like that
Yeah,
isn't a good
because
narrative argument.
yeah, but I believe
Yeah,
the
it
narrative is trying to say that everything is okay in moderation. I say everything. You
Yeah.
can't murder people in moderation, but you know what I mean. You know,
You can.
drinking isn't
actually.
necessarily a bad thing, but it's also, if too much, not a good thing.
What's everyone drinking today? If we're on the topic of alcohol,
I am on the finest beer in the whole of Burton-on-Trent,
Just saying that
Carling.
Carling's the finest beer.
in the whole of Burton and Trent.
Say that again.
N-
That is.
name a better beer in Burton and Trent. Or lager.
I don't know where Burton-on-Trent is.
Neither.
I dropped out
Just
of
says
On
it on the
Trent.
front of
geography.
the can.
It's on Trent. You know the River Trent?
Nope.
Is that why it's called Stoke-on-Trent?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where Shakespeare was born. think.
No, it wasn't. That was Stratford-upon-Avon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shakespeare was born in Stratford.
We are no Stratford-upon-Avon.
Where's that?
It's down south, isn't it?
As you can tell, we all got A stars at geography A level.
I did. I went to I got A stars in geography, GCSE, and A level, and I went
Oh my god.
to university for geography, and I like loved geography. Was amazing at it. I was like the best in my year. I got the top in my geography A levels and all my exams. Then I dropped out.
Yeah, but isn't geography not just? He was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, by the way. I am a genius. Geography is not like borders, lines. This is where this country is. It's more about
Volcanoes.
China's one-child policy, everything.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's two. Well, if we just move on, there's two. There's like human geography and physical geography,
There you go.
but neither really is about where Shakespeare was born. In my defence.
Stratford upon Avon, mate.
Well, now we know.
Right, back to what worked well, what didn't work well. I loved when we were like writing in the diary or typing in a text or seeing something on a computer screen. It went black and there was just white writing. I thought it did that excellently.
So you like your intertitles?
Yeah.
What was it about them?
Just for me, that's not something I've seen before.
I
You
think
haven't
it was.
seen an intertitle before.
Well, no, it was the way that it was doing it for every single piece of text that we don't see, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like messages, online notes, everything that
Diary
like was
entry.
kind of taken down. I think that was. It was
Because-
really good that it was all the same font, as if
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. I
It
just
it
really
was
liked
very classic, because nowadays, if you're thinking about, oh, I want to show this text on screen, you would either put it in a little bubble coming out of the
I
phone,
hate
like
it when people
VFX,
do
or
that's
like
disgusting.
show it on the screen, or there is a very good documentary on YouTube about how to show that, and I just thought that was something I hadn't seen before.
I just think it was nice how it was all like, it wasn't just texting. You know, it was everything that
Yeah.
was written, everything
Yeah.
that was typed was all done in the same way. And there's so much of it. It really makes you like realize that's because a lot of films will just avoid, you know, texting or writing stuff down just so that they don't have to show the texting. Like in real life, we text a shit ton of stuff. We message a shit ton,
All the time.
and it's so hard to get that across in film. And I think they kind of mastered the way of doing it in the sense that it wasn't. You're right there, Tom.
Sorry,
Excuse me.
I'm just testing my microphone.
Yeah, just continue.
Yes.
In the way that it didn't like yeah, it just wasn't too cringy. I agree with you. It was nice. It looked authentic.
Yeah, I also agree. I didn't even think about that before, but you're right about like so much is like written over text. Like so much of your like, because now we're so separated and texting is such a big part of our lives. Even when I have text conversations with people, if I have a good text conversation, it really builds up your relationship. And if you don't, then
Yeah.
it does kind of affect your relationship with people in your like characterization if that was transpired to a movie.
I've just. Sorry, go on.
So if you're having like a modern age thing and you just avoid that, I get what you mean. I respect the fact it didn't shy away from that.
Are we going to talk about what did we, or have we already talked about the hypothesis?
We've talked.
Not yet.
Oh, so
Okay.
we need to talk about that.
What
Are
did
you
you
gonna-
guys?
I want to talk about lens flare. Can I talk about lens flare?
Yes.
And then we can talk about hypothesis?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to talk about lens flare. There is a scene where the lens flare, like, from the sun is over his head. I liked it when he was a bit pissed.
Okay, moving on.
That's nice.
So, what did you guys think of like the actual hypothesis itself, the 0.05% hypothesis of alcohol?
I thought it was a cracking idea. I don't know about you, but I lack confidence in general, and alcohol always gives you a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I say it was a cracking idea. I don't actually mean that.
I do think it's a good idea because like I've done stuff similar before in the case of like I worked on something recently where I had rehearsals, I had run throughs, and I feel like it's definitely different in the film industry in comparison to like teaching. But in the film industry, it's quite chill. I do feel like there are probably quite a few directors and people that work on stuff like this which do drink a bit. But I would have a drink before each rehearsal and run through just to kind of get my words out properly because I am generally quite lost for words when I don't have a drink, and
You're quite
I
a
find it hard
nervous
to
boy.
direct because I can't think of the words to describe acting and stuff like that.
Irish famine.
What? Where's that come from?
Pitch.
Oh yeah, pitching. Yeah, I'm also terrible at pitching when sober. I think alcohol confidence is definitely a big part of my future.
Whoa.
But I don't want to become alcoholic. I don't think I will. To be fair, I'm such a lightweight that I don't think it.
You could.
I
I think it would
well,
be bad.
I hope not. No, like it's not. I'm not actually gonna do this, but you know, I couldn't turn up to a set and say, well, I've had a drink because otherwise I feel a bit nervous. But everyone feels a bit more confident after a glass,
I mean,
and I
I've-
lack confidence when sober.
I mean,
you drive to a lot of sets, so I feel like
That's
you probably
true.
shouldn't. It's crazy notes.
We love the voice break there at the end.
Yeah, that's lovely.
What's your crazy note this week, Ben? This week? This
Oh, yeah.
episode.
Sorry, I haven't even got them up. Hold on a second. lads.
Oh, no,
I hate to disappoint, but I yet again don't have enough personality to write down any crazy
What?
notes.
I just write down whatever shit comes to my head.
I'm not very interesting. We've already discussed this in episode 2.
Very good drunk eyes.
Drunk eyes. Do you know, we were talking about this before, I don't know.
Are they pissed?
Well, apparently, I don't think they're pissed, but acting drunk, I mean, like, performing as though you're drunk, is apparently one of the most difficult things
Yeah,
an
I
actor
can
can do.
imagine so.
apparently it's really hard because I can imagine like you don't want to seem too much, but at the same
Yeah.
time for it to be realistic.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
And then everything on screen has to be a little bit more exaggerated than in person.
But it can't be too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
So
can
it's
we get a crazy
cringe.
note? Jesus
I've
Christ.
just had a crazy
We're
note.
just talking
Sorry,
about
I
it.
was reading mine and I kind of zoned out.
The
I
wine
just-
glasses are ginormous. All Danish glasses are weird. Did anybody else notice this? The
No.
wine glasses were like half a liter.
Oh yeah, it was like really weirdly curved.
Shout
But
out.
then the wine glass was huge.
Wine glasses are normally quite big.
No,
like you get
these-
surprised
these
how
were,
big.
These were
But I think
half a
British
bottle
wine
large.
glasses might be really small because at work my wine glasses are huge, and in general wine glasses are actually very big.
Are we
Are we
not
the weird
as big
ones?
drinkers as
Oh.
we think we are?
To be fair,
Um,
Europeans,
I don't
all
know.
my European friends always say that British people, like, especially like French people, they drink so much more. Apparently, Europeans do
Did you
drink
say
more than
Brit-
we do.
Oh right. Oh yeah, obviously French people drink more than us.
I mean, your girlfriend's French.
Yeah, she drinks like when we go to
French
her
and
place. When we go to her place, it's like constant day drinking. It's odd.
it's good.
It's yeah, okay, it's true.
We don't
Um,
have the weather for drinking too much though.
That's true.
It gets a bit depressing if you sat inside drinking in the rain, as you
Yeah.
can
To be fair,
hear.
I
Which we
never
are
day
doing
drink.
now.
Yeah.
You're
Um,
inside.
I have a note which I don't know how crazy it is really, but I remember getting really peed off about it when they compared musicians making like really nice music to being to teaching while drunk.
I
Like,
liked
do you
it. I
do you
thought it
remember
was
that part where they were
cute.
like, "Oh yeah, this musician made some really good songs while drunk.
Tchaikovsky. or
We
whatever
could
it's
do
called.
some really good teaching while drunk." I'm sorry. Like, some musicians make music which is amazing while absolutely like
Sloshed.
incapacitated. Yeah, like on all sorts of drugs. I don't think you should be doing that while teaching. It's not a good example at all. It's a really bad analogy. So that kind of got on my nerves for some reason, because like a lot of musicians just like, can you imagine Liam Gallagher teaching? Well, absolutely off his face. I wouldn't like that.
Do your best Liam Gallagher impression.
Oh fuck.
Tom, you should do this.
No, you're fucking near
Yeah.
Manchester.
I'm not.
You're closer
Manc,
to
though, am I?
Manchester than I am.
I just want to hear your impression.
You're closest to Manchester.
Yeah. I don't.
And you already have a northern accent.
At least just sing us Wonderwall.
I can't do that. What is the game this week, Elspeth Taylor?
So, the game this week, as we promised last episode, so on our Instagram, if you guys want to follow us, it's at the Legless Tripod. Very fun
easy,
content.
Very easy.
You can see our updates, first episodes. Let us know so you're up to date.
We're really frequent posters.
So,
A little drunk giggle from Ben after he made that comment.
so I posted on our Instagram story 5 pairs of films, and I got you guys to vote which was your favourite films. So I'm going to tell these guys the choice of the 2 films, and they have to vote to which one was the most popular. And whoever loses has to have a drink, and whoever wins and gets a point.
Just for the audience, I just want to say we are relying on your good taste in films here.
Oof.
I mean, I have
With-
thoughts on
with-
it, but we are relying on it.
Okay, fire away.
Okay, so round 1. The 2 options are Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
I'd say Harry Potter as well. We're agreeing
You're
on
both
this.
right.
Good.
Which I think is the wrong answer, but
Well
you're
done,
both
everyone.
right.
I've never
No.
watched Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. I've watched it in my adult years, and I feel like a lot of people have that nostalgic connection to it.
As a kid.
It's not that good when you start watching it from your adult years.
Okay, so you both got that one. So the next one is Rocket Man or Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh,
Should have said it then, shouldn't you?
Well,
I mean, you can take the other one and be right. Or we both have to drink.
that's my fear.
This is a close one.
Because Bohemian Rhapsody is quite, it's more PG, would you say?
But I just think he's bigger than Elton John.
Yeah. Elton John's British, isn't he? Are they both British?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think Bohemian Rhapsody, yeah.
Okay, you're both right again. It's Bohemian Rhapsody. This one's a difficult one. Akira or Grave of the Fireflies?
Akira.
What?
Akira.
I have not heard of either of those.
Just
They're
say
two
Grave of the
animes.
Fireflies, mate. Just say Grave of the Fireflies. I'm saying Akira.
Akira.
Fuck you.
Well,
Is it? Am I wrong?
unlucky shit, it's 50-50.
Ooh.
What?
So, yeah, it's 50-50.
Split. Split.
Damn.
Also, side note, Grave of the Fireflies, so sad. You guys should watch it.
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched either, but I've heard of Akira a lot more than
I've
Grave of
seen
the
both.
Fireflies.
So, you guys,
never- I
I'm
never
going to say,
watched
because you guys
two
haven't
animes.
drunk and I'm bored of it. So, rock, paper, scissors.
Oh.
Whoever
Was that it?
loses has to drink.
Okay.
Was that gonna be? Were we gonna
This is
rock
gonna
paper
be the
scissors
decider.
anyway?
Well, this is going to be decided who drinks this round. Okay. Rock, paper, scissors. Okay, 3.
Shoot.
Do it
You
on...
say shoot
Okay,
afterwards.
shit. 3, 2, 1, shoot.
Ah.
Okay,
Hey!
so Tom's
to
lost. He
drink.
did paper. Ben did scissors.
I'm successful.
Okay, next round. If you guys all get this, it'll be boring. So, Uncut Gems and Marriage Story.
Uncle James. No.
No, shh. Man
Ah,
story.
I've made my decision.
Wow, Tom, you were right.
Yeah.
That was a really close one. 53 to
just-
47.
I think
some
obviously
good
I
maths.
think Uncut Gems is a better film, but I would have
Uncle
thought
James. Well, because it's on
more
Netflix, so I
people-
thought Marriage Story
both
would
of
be
them
much
were.
more.
both of them were, but more people talked about
Yeah, but
Marriage Story.
Uncle James was
I
released in
prefer
cinemas. wasn't it?
Marriage Story over Uncut Gems.
I
was
preferred
I
Uncut
surprised.
never
Gems.
watched Marriage Story.
I
I didn't
fucking
really wanna
love the
see-
Safdie brothers,
I
but
didn't
I
really
just
want to
thought
see
more
Adam
people.
Driver shout at whatever her name was.
Scarlett Johansson.
Was it really?
Yes.
Wow.
You should watch Annette, where he sings into Marion Cotillard's vagina.
What?
That was the last thing I expected. You
That's
to say
what
at the
I've.
end of that
That's what I've
sentence.
heard from Cannes. That's the only news I've heard about that film. It's not
Isn't
come
this
out
the
yet.
weird one with the car?
Annette. Yeah. No, that's something else.
A different weirder one.
Yeah.
Right.
I preferred
I am not
Marriage
up to
Story
date on my weird
over
films.
Uncut Gems, I think. I found Uncut Gems slightly exhausting.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I
but that's
didn't-
the fucking fun
I
of it.
find.
A full-time thriller, constantly. I love the
No,
Safdie
I
Safdie thriller,
brothers.
it's more of
I
a
found. What's Safdie Brothers? Good Time.
Good
I found
Time.
Good
Oh,
Time
God.
so annoying. I didn't finish it.
What?
You're
I
saying
watched
that
it
to
when I had
Ben.
COVID. I
I'm
watched it
gonna
when I had
scream.
So, this is the final round, and the two films are Taxi Driver or Blade Runner.
COVID. Taxi Driver.
Blade Runner.
Tom is right again.
Ooh,
That was
boy.
close, though. There was one vote between it.
God, I'm
If
just
I'm
too
honest,
good at this.
With the last
got any
two
wrong?
questions,
Have I got any wrong?
You got them all right. Ben, you got a drink again.
with the last two questions, may I just say, that was me thinking that the audience's taste was bad. I don't agree with those choices that I made at all. Really, I do.
Do you think?
The first Blade Runner. Oh, I can't.
But the first,
I can't diss
what
a
I
whole
remember
fan
was
base.
the first Blade Runner wasn't a hit.
I remember
at
it being very
first.
boring.
I watched
and
the first Blade Runner with you, Tom. I wasn't a huge fan of it.
You know,
I found
I thought it was
Taxi Driver
okay.
very incel, but at the same time, like
Taxi
it was
Driver.
just a better made film than.
do you think?
I think it has more
Oh
substance.
no! I think Blade Runner is definitely the better made film because Taxi
It's
Driver was
the
lower
pacing.
budget.
The pacing's worse on Blade Runner.
Yeah,
so-
but like in terms of production, I found Blade Runner better.
The costuming in
you can't just say
Blade
because
Runner.
something's richer, something's better.
No, because some of the audio in Taxi Driver is a little bit dodgy. It's a little bit strange.
But
Yeah, I
John Paul
suppose.
Gaultier's costuming in Blade Runner.
Mm.
Ooh, there's McDonald's outfits, there's flight assistant outfits.
It's been a long time. I need to watch more films. Considering I study film, I work in film, and I do a film podcast, I don't watch enough films. I've watched one film in the past 3 weeks.
Maybe the whole point of this podcast is just getting Tom to watch more films.
I mean, we're not doing very well if the last episode was over a month ago. There we go.
Anyway.
Okay, Ben, you lost.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go and get a drink.
Sadness.
Why did I drink in the last round?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So, moving on from another round, let's toddle off. Let's go on a different route now. Let's talk about like box office. What are we thinking of the current state of cinema at this point?
Tom's dying of laughter, but I feel like we've all gone to see films. Well, me and Tom have. but very
Box
different
office.
films.
Sorry.
Like, none of us have seen the same films recently, because I hadn't seen films for like a month or so. Then last week I went to the cinema like 2 or 3 times, but we've all seen different films.
Well, I don't go to the cinema regularly. The only reason I've brought this up is because I was looking at the Odeon, right? And this has probably been the same for like the past 10 years.
10
But-
years.
Yeah. Films at the cinema at the minute just look shit. Like, what was on there? Suicide Squad.
I want to see Suicide Squad,
What's
but
the one
more
about
out
the beach?
of
M. Night Shyamalan.
old. Don't see old. I want to see Suicide Squad out of
But-
morbid
but-
interest.
But, like, none of them are any
I-
good. It's
I-
all just American-funded shit.
Unpopular opinion here. I haven't watched Suicide Squad, the new one. Is it? I suppose it's technically a remake.
Technically, yeah.
I think it's like it's not a
'Cause
reboot,
it's not a
but it's a
sequel.
turnover.
A reboot. That's a good
I think
shout.
it is a sequel,
No,
but
it's
they're
not a
kind
sequel.
of
Suicide
pretending the
Squad 2.
first one doesn't
They've
exist.
just redone it, yeah. I actually want to watch it out of. I think it'd be so much better than the first one from
That's
the trailer
why
and
I
stuff.
want to watch it.
And I've heard some really good reviews about it, if I'm honest. Like the first one,
Awful.
there were some good reviews, but the majority of reviews were terrible.
Firstly, how were that ever good reviews? That film was terrible. I want to see the second one out of morbid curiosity, and also because I think it might be better. And I
I
like
think
the
it might
comics
genuinely
a lot.
be a
But
good film.
hold on. That's American cinema. It's American film. It's American money.
Where's this patriotism coming from?
Because we need British cinema. Like
Aye,
Limbo. Limbo is a brand new release. And
Mr.
Odeon
Nationalist
have
over here.
got nothing to do with
Because
it.
they haven't got much distribution money. Like, let's face the facts. Like, Hollywood have
I hate
all the
it.
distribution
Also,
money.
British cinema funding is dying. Like,
Hmm.
I think I can't remember when, but I think I saw saying I might be chatting out my arse, but funding's being cut. Like, British cinema's dying,
Which
which is
is
a shame.
awful. Like,
COVID's probably not
don't
helped.
get me wrong. American feature films wanting to be made in Britain is great because it brings money in. They're making studios. You know, it gives me an employment.
Black
If
Widow
I
was
was to ever
filmed in
go that way.
Pinewood.
Hmm.
Exactly. But, you know, what about British films? I said that in the most British way possible. But, you know, it makes me feel a bit shit because I don't want to spend £20 on an Odeon My Limitless ticket when there's nothing that I
You
actually
spent
want to see.
£20 in.
I said that's. Don't quote me wrong. I said I don't. When there's nothing that I
Well,
want to see.
Luckily, you probably don't have to because in the View it's $6.99 a ticket, and in Genesis during the weekdays it's $5.50.
Ticket prices might vary based on your location.
I really like going to the cinema.
Okay.
Also, I don't think enough people go to the cinema by themselves. And also, when people say cinema's dying, I think there's always going to be a market for people. I just like going to the cinema for a cinema trip.
Personally, I've noticed in films I've watched recently, like I watched The First Cow on a streaming service recently, and I definitely noticed that. Obviously, I wasn't paying full attention. I had my phone and everything, but if I had watched that in cinema, I would have enjoyed it so much more.
Yeah.
And I could really tell because it was a film that was mainly good for its. I hate to use the word here, but I can't think of anything else. Vibe. General mood of the film. Oh yeah, mood. I could have just used mood. General mood of the film was like what made it good. I think.
First Cow.
Yeah, because the pacing was like so slow. You needed to really be fully indulged
So,
in
but
the movement,
This is
mesmerized by the cinematography.
Yeah, this is the question nowadays. Are films going to have to adapt to people being, watching films from home?
To be
Is that what we're
fair,
going to have to
Yeah.
change to?
two things is like, because when I watch films at uni, especially the past year and even my first year, some really amazing films, like classics, but when I would go in and I would just watch them at home, then I'd go on my phone and stuff and it would ruin the vibe. And even just I like a cinema experience. I like going in and
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I've seen quite a few films in the cinema and at home. If a film's a good film, I'll still be interested in it.
That's true. Yeah, but I don't think that's like a judgment of a good film. I think there are a lot of films which have slow pacing, which are still quite good films, but we have a really bad attention level nowadays.
I sometimes like slow films. There are films
But
old.
they're harder to connect with when
Oh,
you're at home.
100%. I think slow.
Cinemas force you into that box where all you can see is the film, widescreen. There's not much else you can look at.
But I
And
mean,
I think
sometimes it's
that's
still
necessary.
bad. I find myself thinking this is bad. I think slow films, this might sound a bit meh, but aren't for a mainstream audience. But I saw Old recently. I
See,
really
but
wouldn't recommend it.
What's it called?
Old
Old.
is
Oh,
Night
yeah.
Shyamalan's new film. It's based
See,
on a
but from
graphic novel, which I want to read.
yeah.
And the concept's amazing. It's like a beach where you age in a day. Brilliant. I think it would have worked so much better as a TV show. As a movie, it was awful. Stuff
seen-
happened
yeah.
just to happen. Like,
I watched the trailer. I thought that was going
I've
to be
seen
shit.
no trailers for it. I've seen no promotion for it apart from the posters. And just from the posters,
it's a bad poster.
yeah, it's awful.
It's a terrible poster
I
as
mean,
well.
I saw the trailer, and I know a few of the actors from other things. And I thought they were doing terrible performances, and I think it's because, and I hate to go out here and say this, but I don't think M. Night Shyamalan's that good of a director. I really don't
Neither
rate
do
any of
I
his
anymore.
films.
I've never watched any of it.
I almost think some of his films, because he did like Split, and he did that
And he did
trilogy,
The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
and I haven't watched Sixth Sense. I think I still need to watch that.
I want to
but
watch that, but it's
the
only
majority of his directing, I'm really like always quite disappointed. He has ideas that sound like they come from a child.
But even that, it was based on a graphic novel, and I want to read the graphic novel now because I like the idea. But the film, it was like stuff would happen, like really interesting stuff. In a TV show, I think you would have the time to firstly relate to the characters, so when they got older, you'd feel sad because you would have the more theme of death. In an hour and a half, you can't do that, and stuff would happen. Then
And TV's
I kind of want to spoil it, but I don't know if I want to.
What,
but-
old?
no,
yeah.
no, I
But
wouldn't.
I'm not going
yeah,
to.
I
But stuff would happen, and then it just didn't lead anywhere. Then something bad would happen, and you didn't have the time to feel sympathy. And then also the thing that fucking pisses me off: really big major life events would happen where a good director could have really gone with that and taken themes, and you would have felt a lot. Then it was just forgotten about in 5 minutes, and something else would happen. And it's like, why the hell did you even do that if it wasn't going to do anything? It
Yeah.
really it kind of pissed me off. And also, you know when you watch a film, I'm just ranting, but you know when you watch a film and it's like really heavy topics like death and stuff, but the moral of it was so like self-righteous and also acted as though you were dumb. So it was like acting as though it was clever and intelligent, but it was so self-righteous and surface level. It was like how like I don't say how dare you speak to me like that, but it's also like you don't have anything to say why you acting like
Yeah.
you do and like you know everything when you don't.
Shyamalan's
I didn't like it.
he's such a childish director. I
I think the film was childish. I think the film didn't have the skills or didn't have the intelligence to pull off what it wanted, so it led to firstly unclimactic moments and self-righteous like stupid moral moments.
I guess I haven't watched Old, so I can't comment. But I don't know. I just want to see something more varied than American films. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like that concept, and M. Night Shyamalan was a director. That wouldn't have happened if it was like another country that was the dominant force in filmmaking. And I think we just see lots of shit. Like that must have been just a passable film. And I think there are
Fairly.
lots of passable films.
Well, that's why I was excited for another round, because normally Danish films are good, and also I saw another Scandinavian film that was the weirdest film I've ever seen. But at least it was weird and something happened. Like, I like foreign films because it's not just like superhero, remake, reboot. I'm
Oh.
sick of fucking remakes.
I do
Avengers.
think
I hate the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. I fucking despise it. Just like fight scene, oh, little bit of story, fight scene, fucking CGI.
I maybe slightly disagree, but we don't have to go into it.
I do think
Rambo.
personally, like stuff, scripts and films that are pitched in America would not get picked up in European countries at all. Like they are, some of the shit I've watched, which is American, it's just they're so lenient about films,
Yeah.
concepts. And one
Black
thing I've
Widow.
Can
one
I
thing
have
I've-
some
God.
examples?
Calm
Excuse me.
Black Widow was
What?
like
Excuse me, explain yourself after Ben's finished.
children's films. I don't get them.
What do you mean?
You're not a child.
But
What's
what-
a children's film?
my what's that new one? Free Guy.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
It's
The
in,
one with
it's
Ryan
in the
Reynolds.
Odeon cinemas at the minute. Shit.
One thing I've started to think about is like these people working on these films surely can't enjoy this kind of content. If they're adults, like they're not
Well,
going to
the
be.
people working on it.
Yeah. The people making these films surely can't
From
be
what level?
actually genuinely into this content.
Like the director
Any
and
level,
things like that.
any, like the general crew.
Lots
and
of
director.
crew just do it for the money though.
Exactly, and I feel like children's films are the biggest like example of in the film industry, just people doing it for
But
money.
would you call Soul a children's film?
Yeah, I slightly
Or Inside
disagree.
Out.
that was like okay, Soul's an example of an artistic children's film.
Also, I think there's also a thing with like Netflix films. Like, you know, I haven't seen them, so maybe I shouldn't be talking about it. But you know, like All the Boys I've Loved Before and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not my type of film, so I'm not gonna watch it. But I think it's also a Netflix thing where films. I hate it when things become a trend. I think social justice things has then become a trend. But like when like those films, they become trendy and they get churned out again and again.
Yeah.
Those I also think like I'm not gonna be sat here like it disgraces cinema. Like who gives a fuck? It's a moving an image for half an hour. Like if you actually care that much, you get a life. But it's a bit of a waste.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like to get into cinema and film, especially at that level, a feature film release level, you have to have studied film and have an understanding of the history of cinema and story and narrative and all that sort of shit. And you kind of throw that all away when you want to make something so trivial
know what?
into a
Trashy.
feature film.
I disagree. I don't think you have to study film to enjoy it, and I think a lot of
No, I
people
didn't say
take
that.
film. You did. You said you have to study film and actually understand it.
Yeah, not to watch it.
Yeah, but I think
To make
even to
one.
get into it, I think a lot of people do it either for the money or just for the credit. I think that's fine. I don't think film is that serious. What I do think is an issue when it all becomes boring and mass produced, and a lot of young talented filmmakers or even old talented filmmakers with new fresh ideas don't have the funding and don't get the
Yeah.
opportunity to do it for this mass produced
fact that-
shit.
the fact
That's
that
the
people are
issue. I
spending
don't,
so much on
Crap.
trashy
Yeah.
like American
yeah,
family films, which are like
like
the,
life.
the
But
kind
then-
of comedies.
Everything is up to taste. We might find it shit.
No, but that's what I mean.
I know, but some independent filmmakers might have some of the most amazing ideas for film and take years to get funded. But there are these like execs in all these companies.
That's
which
just
are
the
like,
way.
Like
how much
This is
shit
American film.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what I mean. Like I
Hollywood's
don't
so backward.
like if it's a different taste. Like I know certain things about my taste, and I'm not gonna say like my taste is right, or you have to like fucking love Citizen Kane or certain films because that's pretentious.
Never
like,
watched it.
Exactly, but like some things are my taste, and I totally get that. It's just more. It's so discouraging when funding's cut, and then we're sat here enjoying film, and even normal like I don't want to say normal people, but even other people, like the majority of
Normies.
audiences, they're sick of all this stuff, and it just
Yeah.
is powered in for the money.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
I-
sit here like, oh, it's artistic. You're ruining the art of cinema. Like, get a fucking life.
On the topic of Marvel, though, I don't think that fits into the category because it is just a visual remake of the comics, which was such a successful series alone. I understand it is a bit of a money grab, but at the same time, they have so much material to work with. You can understand the like nice amount of freedom they've had. I think anyone would do what they've done in their position.
I quite like a Marvel film.
I
just
think
find
they're
it-
not that bad as well.
I
They're
like
really good
Marvel
filmmakers
films.
behind Marvel films.
I just can't do it.
I think we're past
Like I watched the first. Sorry, I watched.
No.
Maybe when I as a kid, I watched the first few Avengers films, like maybe 1 and 2, and then immediately lost interest. And there was like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I just did not care in the slightest. And you just got remake after remake after sequel after not remake, sequel after sequel, and I just thought like, what is the point? I know you're trying to tell a comic book story that you're adapting a graphic novel into the cinema, but I don't know.
But that's the thing.
Why
It's like
go?
it has
It's
almost
just
like
not for me.
it's like such a deep universe that if you proper get into it, you can. For instance, take like a newly made TV series. You watch the TV series, you're like, oh yeah, that was alright. But if you have something as massive as Marvel,
Yeah.
you watch a Marvel film, and then you really like a character, You can research that character, and there's so much background information from all the comics. They've created such a thick universe and such a thick wrap
But
around
not
it.
everybody is completely interested in that kind of thing.
But
What I
it's-
can't
it's
understand
very-
is why the Marvel Cinematic Universe is so huge, brings in so much money with every single film that they released, is one of the highest earning franchises, thank you, like ever made, ever, when it's just a load of comic
But you
book.
know what I
So
kind of
structured
disagree
adaptations.
with? I think, because I also like my comic books, I think DC make better comic books than Marvel. Marvel comic books aren't that good.
But
Or
DC
hasn't-
films were done terribly.
No, but that's what I mean. So Marvel, I kind of respect Marvel. I like watching, like, I saw Black Widow, and I was like, I'm in the mood to see an action film, or like a silly film, if I'm in the mood. Also, one thing I respect about Marvel films is they thought that out. In my opinion, DC films, they saw Marvel, then they were like, cash grab. Let's just do
Yeah.
Justice League.
Watchmen.
Batman versus Superman.
They tried to
Probably
skip
the
all the
worst
character
film.
development.
Yeah.
They really did, and it was terrible.
So at least Marvel, they had this view, and they probably know what they are. Everyone knows. I think the age of comic book superheroes is dying out as well. I think they're still going to produce them, and people are still going to watch them. But from the craze it was in like the 2010s, when it was the biggest thing, I think it is dying out, and I think they probably know that.
Because
But-
they've made it to death.
Yeah, but DC films, I have no respect for. Marvel films,
But that's
I have a lot more
that's
respect for.
so.
And I don't even
what-
like
what-
Marvel comics.
Yeah, what Marvel have got is a team of clever executive producers.
Some-
But also,
That-
that's
they've
what you fucking
structured it
watch.
Worked
so
it
well.
well.
The kind of like, for instance, like people used to talk about Hitchcock's cameo effect, where he used to slip in a little cameo every now and again, and Marvel have truly mastered slipping little things into their films that are relative to other films, and it's so well interconnected, which I
Yeah.
think DC will never be able to do. We need to fix the British film industry, and that's on you guys. You guys need to watch more British films
Yeah,
for
you
Tom
do.
Thane.
You need to go and donate to terrestrials.
Hashtag British Tom Thane, get it trending.
Hashtag.
We're not doing this again.
Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. It's been a long night for us.
It's been a pleasure
It has been a pleasure.
It's been a fun
I've enjoyed-
time.
chatting shit,
I have no idea what we fucking talked about, to be fair.
anything and everything.
So yeah, we'll get back to you with another podcast in a week, obviously, because we always do that.
Next time is Tom's decision of the film we watch.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Limbo. No, I'm joking. I'm not too sure yet.
To be fair, I would. But Tom's decision, let's see what he picks. Bet it's American.
Oh,
Fuck
yeah.
you,
I'm
Ellie Taylor.
kidding.
I'm gonna kick you off the podcast. Right, see you later.
Adios.
Bye.